Right, good evening. I'm not too sure how this video is going to come out in terms of sound quality and lighting. Um, Basically, I got a bit overexcited and I wanted to do a video now. It's currently 8:34 and it's outside and it's still just about November. December starts tomorrow. It's about 5 degrees probably, but I'm just a bit excited. I bought myself a new stereo. It's a single DIN unit and I'm going to fit it into the Jaguar X-Type. And in this video I'm planning to show you or explain a little bit some of the basics about how to just do a stereo swap, and then show you in detail how to fit it to the X-Type. Again, because I was a bit excited, I come out yesterday and started doing some stuff in prep to the car to check and make sure I knew where to run certain activities. It's not activities, is it? Where to run wires and where to do stuff. It's normally it's quite straightforward on most cars. It's the same kind of thing, but there are certain screws and buttons. Also on the X-Type, I didn't realise until after I bought the stereo that there's actually not a lot of clearance to get a new stereo in. So I needed to make sure that I've actually got the right stereo, other than, you know, sticking it in. Rather than just chucking the stereo in and then it won't fit and then I've got a wasted time. On top of that, I probably could have done something like clever video stitching and editing, and I can't be bothered. Video editing is not my thing. Don't like it. So I'm going to try and do like a bit of a one-take jobby and see if you like it. Right, so what are we doing then? First of all, it's an X-Type, 2003 X-Type. It's fitted with, I believe, it's got the functionality to have a CD changer. I can't find a CD changer. There's a CDC button on here, and I think there's a plug behind there that's CDC, but I can't see a changer. Normally, glove box, boot. If anyone knows that there is one on X-Type and I've missed it, then let me know, but I don't plan on using it anyway, so there we go. What I've gone for next is, and again, from the market perspective, there are all sorts. You could get the original X-Types have got like a sat-nav screen in them. You can use that to upgrade it and put an Android screen in, something like that. But I just didn't fancy it for this car. You could also do things like FM modulators, so you can just plug into the cigarette lighter and send an FM broadcast back to your stereo. Not a big fan of that either. The other car I've got on the drive at the moment next to me here is the Discovery 3. That's got an aux jack, like a little tiny, you know, the little headphone jack into the car. That works relatively well in that I can stream the Bluetooth from the phone to a Bluetooth modulator and then play in through the aux. And that seems to work okay for me. I like having DAB, but I can use that through my phone. And I like to use Google Maps because of the updated traffic navigation, that sort of stuff. So I don't want a fully integrated unit here. Some of the fully integrated stuff as well isn't from one of the big main suppliers. So I've gone for a big supplier for a stereo swap, on the basis that the other stuff is sometimes Chinese, cheaper stuff, and the quality isn't always there. Again, I've got nothing against that sort of thing. It's just that from a longer term sustainability perspective, I want to be able to fit the stereo and know I've done a good job, and then it'll stay in there for as long as I need it. The other thing, this is a 2003 car, and while we did have sat-navs around that sort of time, they weren't that common. So I've tried to get with a sort of a, not necessarily retro style, but if you were to have upgraded your stereo in 2003 when the car was out, you probably would have done a similar thing. You would have got a single DIN unit or a double DIN unit. They weren't so popular then either. Right, here we go. Single DIN versus double DIN. I don't know whether people know the difference. Single DIN, double DIN. It's just the size of the unit here. A lot of stereos you can get in this kind of era of car, there's this massive thing here, which is all of that is the CD player. It's got the phone connectivity as well, although I don't know if that works for all of them without a Bluetooth module. But you can get a single DIN or a double DIN unit in here, and DIN just means it's got an acronym. It will mean something, and surprisingly, I'm a bit geeky. I don't know what it is. But single DIN is 1, double DIN is 2. An example here is this is the fascia. So that's the fascia trim panel, which you'll need for any kind of upgrade. There'll become a point where the upgrade to a fascia isn't needed on some of the more modern stuff, like the bigger cars have got bigger screens and stuff. Stereo swapping out is not the same anymore, but this kind of era onto a more recent than this as well. This is the kind of thing you need. It's a fascia plate, and you need a particular one for your car. Basically, it fills the gaps in that are left behind when you take the original stereo out And single DIN or double DIN, there's your 2 DIN slots. So single DIN is one of these and double DIN is both. I've gone for a single DIN unit, which is here, a single DIN which will go in one of those 2 slots. And then in the other slot, I've got a little tray, somewhere where you can keep coins, that sort of thing. The idea is then, the unit I've gone for, it's got Bluetooth audio for streaming your phone calls, but it'll also do Bluetooth playback through your phone. So the idea is the phone speakers and everything will come through there. I've got a little speaker to mount as well. I've got a little microphone speaker to put in here. And the idea with that is that will allow me to play the music and everything through the car speakers. I should be able to play the maps through the speakers, listen to all the music from Spotify, that sort of stuff through the speakers, but also it will handle calls as well. The idea again is I want to get sort of somewhere close to factory fit, so I'm going to try and put this up here somewhere so that the audio quality is good. I've already taken the light unit out, as you can see here. I've taken the light unit out, which I'll show you again how to do that when I put it all back together again. If you're interested in sticking around, I'll obviously go through how you take it all apart, put it all back together in this car, and then I'll run the cable down. That's the real pain in the butt with the microphones, is you've got to run that cable, which is again, it's a little headphone jack, or very similar to a headphone jack. You've got to run that from wherever you want to put your mic, so you get good audio for your phone calls into the back of the head unit. Right, what should we do first? I think I'll crack on with the microphone, get that routed, and explain to you what I might do. So with this one, taking the light unit out was quite straightforward. You literally just have to prise it and pop it down and it clips in. That's the way to get that head unit. Gonna keep on missing my words. That's the way to get that out. Now the next thing I've done is on the headrest, generally speaking, they're all the same. There's a little clip there which clips into, holds that in, but it allows you to then bring this down and give you a bit of extra space. It's one screw, it's a Torx screw, I think it's a T25. But now I can get that prized open a bit. It allows me to put the microphone cable right through. There's no sort of seal. Sometimes you get a bit of a seal, rubber seal along here. We don't really have that in this one. It's just a completely open space. Right, it's a bit tangled already. Great start. And I'm not going to completely fit this in during the video because I'll probably be here too long otherwise. There are things like where I might route the cable through to afterwards. I'm sure that happened in one of my last videos. Our local scooter boys, they love it, don't they? I'm not sure if you're going to get microphones that are going to sort that sort of stuff out on the roads. Hope not, because that stops nice exhausts from happening too. Right, have I got myself in a tangle? I've literally got a few minutes into the video, nice little explanation, and I've got a little knot. How can you get a knot? It's brand new out of the box. It didn't come with a knot from the factory, I'm sure. Anyway, plums. Right, one thing I was thinking about before I did the video was maybe I should have put this Oh, what did you do last night? Oh, I watched a YouTube video of some bloke untangling a knot in a microphone. Oh, that sounds really exciting. Right, we're untangled. Off we go. So up here, I'm not too sure, and perhaps that's what we do now. Maybe, in hindsight, what I shouldn't have done was taking things apart. Because I think part of YouTube, part of the fun and fascination of YouTube is seeing other people fuck it up, right? That was another thing I was going to do. Yeah. See, so I've got to put these. That's the, well, it's even got a module, intrusion sensor. So I don't want to start messing around with that. That was screwed in. I remember now. I did it yesterday. That was screwed in. That's all plugged up there. If I fit this mic in here, yeah, that's not really much fun, is it? See, I'm already making a mess. My worry there is if I fit the light unit back and I've got that bit of plastic, how is that going to well? Unless I take that, let's take that off. See what happens if I do that. It might dangle a bit, but it might not. Who knows? Right, and the other thing I've got is I've got a massive light out there, which is really good at being bright, but it's also a pain to move, a pain to put anywhere. And also it shines an incredible amount of light in one place. Right now in my face, it looks like I'm on holiday, but I can't even see down here where the bits are. what I'm looking for, these were the screws I took out yesterday. I'm looking for 2 tiny little screws that I can't get because my fingers are too cold. Oh, brilliant. Where are we? Oh, I'm looking for a screw. Where is my screw? Here it is, but I don't know where the number 2 screw is. Yeah, that's really good. Right, 1 screw found. Putting that back on there, I think, has that got a... It's got pins underneath it, which might connect to that circuit board. That was another thing. I'm not seeing this on a car. It might be common, it might not, but I haven't seen it before. On this one in particular, the light unit, as I pulled it out of the roof lining, it turned off. I was like, oh great. I've knocked it so that the there we go, look. Have I knocked it so that the bulbs have gone? And then I realised that actually it's on a, like there are little pins, like little metal pins that connect the circuit board to the lights up there. Look, where are they? There's the pins there, and they connect to the light unit. I can't remember, there and there. Very peculiar. Right, let's plug that back in. And look for the other, what's it? And those of you who are fans of the channel, there are all none of you, will remember my shiny light up ring from my Discovery. There we go, look, that shines and lights up when it's dark. Very exciting. Right, so that is a T20. Again, I'm not going to try and tell you the right sizes for some of these things. At some point, somewhere, I've got a full set of like Allen keys, or as Ethan likes to call them, Allen's keys. I've got a full set of Allen keys, but like Torx ones. Where they are now, who knows? So I've got all of the right sizes for the Torx, but I don't know where the full set is. Trying to get some of the bits out yesterday. Ah, you just saw that, didn't you? Oh, that's gone. That's gone right underneath. I heard it hit the, what's it called? I am the right way around. I heard it hit the, right, I'm not comfortable with that really. That is there. Do I really want to leave it like that? Doesn't really bounce around too much, does it? It's held in place by that. I don't know, it's right close to my gob. I'm going to be like shouting at people. I can move it back there. Right, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to click it in fully. Well, that proves there, look, that works. That's all right then. I'm not going to click it fully in and leave it in situ because I want to get that screw under there because I'll be really annoyed at myself otherwise. But then otherwise with this, you literally have to pull the cable round. That'll go back in there. And then this bit, that can come out. I prefer not to because sometimes the little plastic, there's like little trim clips that go behind it. And sometimes those trim clips can be a real nightmare to get out. And if they don't come out properly, then they'll just go tink and break. Tink. I had a dog called Tink once. Yeah, interesting name for a dog. She was a bit of a tinker. Very small as well. Ended up eating half of her bed one time. Right, so that runs down there. You might notice as well, before I got in and started the video, this rubber clips, it's just like the door shield. That comes down. Also, you can't see this on this side of the car, but there's a trim panel just down there, just on the side of the car, and you can see again that just clips in. You can pop that out. It just gives a bit of better access to this side of the vehicle. But then if you run it all the way down and around, it'll go under here. And again, I'll do this off camera later. But there's always a little bit of space. Sometimes there's a complete panel you've got to pull out of the way. But in this one, there's the pedals and there's a bit of space. So I'll get under there with my head torch on in a bit and make sure that's cable tied away nice and securely. But that's pretty much, bar a couple of tidying up bits, that's done with my little screw as well. Right. And again, if you're really like and excited by this video, then please feel free to comment below and I'll show you the completely finished article. I'm not going to do that now. Right, so to take the whole stereo unit out, again, I've partly cheated. Not cheated, I did it. But I've taken the liberty of taking some of this apart already. The correct way to do this is not the way that I did it. Easy enough. First of all, the gearbox surround on this one, I think it's the same for a manual or an auto. You literally just use your fingers to pry it up and lever it up. The next thing that you really do not want to do is what I did do. So I'm going to put the screws back that I took out and tell you don't do it, don't need to. What I did was, there are 6 screws. Yeah, I didn't just do it once, I did it 6 times. Not that one. They're all silver and they go in the, there's a little metal plate here. I don't know if you can make that out. Not sure it's quite on the video or not. So as you pull the unit, the handbrake or the gator up, there are 6 silver screws and a silver bracket. There are the screws, like, I don't know if you can make that out or not. They're there anyway. There's 6 of them. Oh, I dropped another one. Note to self, don't do this when your hands are cold. Right. There are 6 screws, there are 6 screws. But there are 4 the same and 2 that are not. So I don't know which one I just dropped. Maybe I should have got myself a different pot to put these in, because this is not the best place to put them. Right. Where are we? 1, 2. Right, this is a T20 and the screws, the screw heads look like T25. Don't take my word for it though, because a 20 is just about good enough. I think this is just like a frame to hold, or it's one of them brackets that holds stuff, that holds other stuff, that eventually makes it all strong, because it's all holding itself together. Not all holding itself together, it's connected to other stuff. Yeah, stuff and stuff with some stuff on the side. Everyone likes a bit of stuff on the side. Everyone likes some stuff on the side. Yeah, stuff on the side. Definitely had an ex-girlfriend who liked stuff on the side once. Actually, it was an ex-wife. So yeah, unfortunately, her stuff on the side wasn't really in the agenda. Anyway, on to the next bit of this. There wasn't a next bit, I just decided that I didn't want to go down a therapy session on a YouTube video. I don't think that was probably the best place to go. It looks like one of the screws I took out that I didn't need to and just dropped is the... So like I said, yeah, there are 6 altogether. 4 are the same, 2 are slightly different. And it looks like, yeah, these are the 2 slightly bigger ones. They're a bit more brassy than, oh, I dropped it in the back into the, at least the cup holder this time. The one I dropped looks like it's the 4th screw rather than the 1 off 2. It didn't sound like it went that far though. The little tiny one, you could literally hear it hit the tink of it, hit the metal runner underneath the chair. So that's definitely under there. These, well, that one, don't know. Right, anyway. Once you had not taken these screws out and popped up your gator surround, the next thing you'd do is to take out the, what do you want to call it? No one smokes anymore, do they? It's like been banned by the devil. No, the devil is the smoking. Anyway, it's an ashtray, isn't it? Well, it was an ashtray. Actually, no, it's not. It's a Jaguar, sorry. Cigar tray. Once you do that, you can undo the... It's hard, I'm not going to get the camera on here, but about sort of there are 2 screws, quite easy, and I believe they were, let's look at my screws to just check myself. they are these little black Phillips head ones. That then takes the cigar tray out. Behind it, you've got some plugs for the cigarette lighter. They can just pull off and out of the way. So that's out of the way, that's done. Next, you'd get, it was difficult. I did use a really, really small screwdriver, but that's quite a flimsy panel. That panel comes out, the pin's sort of bent slightly on that side. That comes out, which is really odd. Then you'll find in here, behind that trim panel, you've got two pretty big screws. They were also black screws, these ones, and I think they're probably 30s. Don't know. I ended up not having the right one. I used a slightly different one which did the job okay. They're not in particularly tight. There's two of those in there. The next bit, which really caught me out, and I was annoyed at myself, which is why I ended up taking the 6 screws out that I didn't need to. On this particular car, there's that tiny, really thin, like, it's just like, look at how thin that is. Little tiny piece of plastic down here, and that needed to come out. That was covering and hiding 2 more of them black screws. Just like that. Just like that. So when they come out, all 4 of them come out, this whole unit comes out as one. As you can see, it's not as one now because I've been messing around. Right, it all comes out as one big unit like that. What you've then got to do here is separate these on the X-type. I think the S-type might be the same. You've got to separate these as well. You do that, here are 2 screws each side, but make sure you need to keep hold of those and retain those. That then means that this whole unit comes apart. Although you're going to find it real difficult to take it apart, aren't you? Because I haven't unplugged it. Right, you need to unplug the unit, because behind the unit are lots and lots of plugs. You've got an aerial lead as well, and this is another peculiar situation with some of these. I'm going to put some of these two of these back in here now. You do need to use, so 2 of the screws that are in here, so there's 4, big sort of shiny brassy ones. You need to keep hold of them, 2 of them, and I'll show you for why. It might be different on different things. Again, different manufacturers, Auto Leads, Connects 2, they've got different, well, they're different brands, but they do the same sort of thing with the fascia plates. I think this is all Connects 2 stuff. Again, I just bought a package together with the stereo to go with it. But when you get them, with every car, it's got its own wiring harness. It used to be that it was, you have to manually wire everything in. So on the back of these, in behind here, I'm not sure how well this will come out on the video, but the Jaguar wiring loom, because what you're trying to do is connect to, you're trying to connect your new stereo to the Jaguar's wiring loom. Now, from the factory, you know, all looms, keeping the looms intact and in one piece are the best thing to do. You know, there's no way you want to try and, or no way, you can obviously hardwire it in. I used to do that back in the 90s. But you're basically cutting into the factory wiring, and if you want to put your stereo back in again, it's a nightmare. So you come on the back of this unit, on the back here, you've got one big plug. There's also this second one here. I think that was a CD changer. And you've also got on this, you've got an aerial. Again, the aerial lead is a different style, different connection. You'll notice here, that's like your more universal style of aerial. A little bit, again, picks up well. It's like a long male protruding aerial lead. And on the other stereos, I think it's called Facro or something like that. There's another connection. So you need to buy an adapter for that as well. So there was a CD changer, all of the functions that go in here, plus the stereo, plus the aerial. That's all of the stereo connections. Now, on the back of the other unit at the top there, you've also got 2 plugs in here. Don't know what that one's do. And 2 plugs here. So they all needed to come out to get the whole unit out. They just need to get plugged back in as they were. But the stereo plugs that you've got in there, you basically connect for the Jaguar, and again, other manufacturers are different, but you end up creating this section here. That's the usual. I think it's ISO or ISO, I don't know whether it's that is the standard connection or the name for it, but you connect these things here. Essentially that lot, you can see there's purple, green, white, grey. I think one's got a stripe in, one's not got a black stripe in, but that's your speakers pairs. What will happen here is that you've got 8 speakers essentially, 2 front, 2 back, and whether you need them or not, it's the stereo's job. It sends all of that into those speakers, and then it sends it into the car, and you can see they're all completely different cars on the back here, and then the car will send them round where it needs to. It picks up, it uses subwoofer, whatever it does on those, it does its own magic. The next thing is that you've got the these are all like the power auxiliary, so like making sure that when you turn the stereo off, the stereo power's off, but also that it's got that permanent live, which is draining a little tiny bit of battery to keep things like memories stored for your phone. So that's the kind of connection you need for every car, but on this particular vehicle we're fitting an additional set of wiring loom, and that's the sort of wires that come with a stereo. And I haven't explained to you what stereo it is yet. That one, very riveting. That's the stereo we've got fitted on there, so it needs to connect into that then as well. Right, so now we know all of the things that we should do, it's probably time to start putting it back. Before we do that, and again I don't know whether I've introduced the car too much to you on some of these things, but it came one owner from new, and it had it's only got 59,000 miles on it. The only thing about it is because it isn't used so frequently, it's kind of got a bit of dust gathering. And I can't tell that's on start. So there's a few things where it's just a little bit dirty and dusty. So I may as well now, I've got the opportunity to get into some of the crevices that you wouldn't normally get into. I'm going to do a bit of cleaning on the way to putting them back together again. Oh, look at you, you little nerd. Love a bit of cleaning. Right. So first thing I'm going to do is try and make sure I've found all the plugs again, because I was just shoving them all out of the way yesterday. Now, I don't know which one goes in what, but generally speaking, they will only connect into one plug hole. They make them almost foolproof. You can see there that one didn't want to go in there, but it does want to go in there. That, can you hear it clicking? Or see it flashing somewhere? That's obviously working well enough. It's giving me back my hazard lights. So I've managed to get my lights back up here. Oh, anyone notice my poppy? There's a poppy up there. I don't like it. I like poppy eyes. Poppy eyes? I like poppies as an idea, but I'm not so much of a fan of it on the car. I don't know why. Maybe I should keep it. Anyway, it came with the car. Arthur loved it. He gave it me for free. Right. Next, behind here, again, you're not going to be able to see this, but this has got like it's quite a common set of slots. These they sort of slide to then allow the cable to come up, and you've got to slide the slider all the way, otherwise you're never getting the plug out. And they're quite good actually, because it locks the plug in place, and it means you don't get any kind of bad connections and stuff. But it does mean now I'm trying to do this cat-handed. I want to get it on the video, and it's never going to happen. Right, what am I doing? Can't see. Have I locked it open or have I locked it closed? I think I just locked it closed again. Yeah, right. Let's go for the other one. That's the nearer one. Right, that makes sense. It's a white plug going into a white hole. You can see that on the video, I'd have thought. So again, you need to guarantee to be the wrong way around, isn't it? Right, so that's going to go in there. Yeah. Right. Slow down. Right. Are you going to go in or what? Does not want to go in. I've got a lingering smell now. I've got a lingering smell of that cleaner. And I don't know if it's the time of year. Oh no. Right. So in this case, no, that one. So in this case, all the way up. So imagine, let me get you a nice little analogy of some sort, I don't know. There's a little tiny retaining tab on the top. You have to slide it all the way back down. So imagine if you're if that's a horse, you just slid down the back to the tail of the horse. Then, yeah, of course it is, other way around. Right, you put the plug all the way in, and then as you're putting the plug in, it starts to itself, that clip starts to rise back up again. It actually says on here, and again, who says about X-types getting bad rap because they're Mondeos? It even says Ford. And that one even says Ford. Don't knock it though, because Fords are nice and reasonable to maintain. So I think on the back of this, again, I'm trying to take it out for the video, but I'll probably still do it for my own benefit. That should now be all of my climate functions back in to the right places, so that unit, the climate unit, can go back in as it should do. So all the climate's there. I've got 2 plugs. I'm just checking again. This is the thing you need to be. Probably if you're doing a stereo swap, I'm taking my time anyway because I'm on a video. But it is the sort of thing where you can really get through it really quickly, and I do. I've done it loads of times because I get overexcited. And then I plug it all in. I'm like, yeah. Yes. Oh, I've forgotten that one tiny little plug, or I've trapped something in particular, which makes something else a bit more difficult. Right, that was what I mean. It's a bit of grime there. That plug. See what I mean about getting behind things? There's a little tiny bit of dirt. I need to get into that with a little brush probably. Right, so now I'm just going to check and double check. Next things to do, I believe. Oh, I've just left this on, burning its batteries to itself. So I should have my 4 screws. I'm going to put these in, or no, I'm not actually. See, that's what I mean, thinking about it, taking time. Right, the reason I'm not going to put that in just yet is that this doubled in. And again, if you want for an X-type or an S-type, I think you need to be very careful to these 2 bits at the top here. On this one, you might notice there's 2 little bobbly bits at the very top. There are some which are made for X-type and S-type. They've got pins in slightly different places. The reason those pins are there, and then if you look on the side of this, because I was confused yesterday when I was putting it in, it was all flapping around. There's 2 little holes on the side there as well, look. And again, that may be the same for an X-type and an S-type. But essentially, when you put this in here, you've got 2 locating pins that go there and there. Not overly fussed about them being in the right place yet. But I've got those other 2 screws. So I said about the stereo had 4 screws in. I test fitted this yesterday with 2 other screws, the 2 black screws, and it seemed to hold it in place. Let me guess, that's going to say Ford on it. ABS plastic. No, it doesn't. It just says it's ABS plastic. Not done yet though. Oh, that's pretty rubbish. So you've got no, that doesn't lock in, just flaps around. That's pretty waffy, isn't it? So you need to secure, because you can see there, I don't know if you can see there, I can't see, I'm blinded by my own light. But it's flapping around. That is going forwards and backwards. So the locating pins are locating it well in there, but those are doing nothing. Right, so I think you know what time it is. I've got a couple of cable ties to make sure that when I put this microphone cable underneath, that will tidy itself up. So I think I'm going to just have to cable tie it. The last thing I want, I can't bear it. If you've got a double DIN, single DIN, whatever, if you've got an aftermarket stereo in and it's flapping around, oh, it's nothing worse. Right, these are only my small. I don't like that either. And I've got some better snips somewhere, but I couldn't find them, so I've gone for the giant metal snips. Makes sense, right? That was a total waste of a cable tie. So I've just done that, and the hole that mounts to this bracket is quite large, and I tied the cable tie around the bottom part of that hole, which meant it pulled it out of the locating pin. Now the locating pin is going to hold it at the top, and this cable tie should hold it at the bottom. So if that's not the case, then I've got a bit of a problem. The cable tie flipped itself over. Come on, you swore. Not really much need for that, is there? Right, cable tie part 2, the sequel. The return of the cable tie. Right, that is in. I don't like it. That's just dumb. Right. And this is again, every time you do something that is not standard, I've always found that the more not standard things you start messing with, the more likelihood there is for them to cause you grief down the line. Which, like I've said, if I put an aftermarket head unit in that is a sort of a cheaper imported unit, or something that's not that tried and tested, you know, there's a reason why there's massive R&D budgets. Some things are overpriced, like an iPhone. There are some things that are like really overpriced, but there are some things that are worth paying a bit extra for. And car audio, I think, is one of those things. The bracket, obviously, it's hard to dis a company, but that is, unfortunately, that's not an ideal and elegant solution. And I'm also not sure I've put it in the right locating pin there, or even in the locating pin. I'm not sure it's fitted properly. All right. Yeah. So connects to. If that's you, I think you've okay job. I would prefer something a bit more rigid than that, if I'm completely honest. Right, anyway, I've got it in. Oh, cable ties for the massive, and unfortunately, while we've got the snips out, put it on there. Oh, look, see, have I made this video with thinking that other people might actually want to watch it, or I made this video just because I like it? Because now I've noticed and remembered, that is grim. That is so disgustingly dirty. Well, not dirty, it's just smudged. And because the car is such a young mileage car, that's like, against like new. Righty. So I've twisted that around itself a few times now. Maybe that's not a good idea. Let's go back round. One more time round. There we go. Right, so. Do you say right so a lot? Yes, I know. Right, so that is in. That's wobbling. Every day I'm wobbling. Every day I'm wobbling. That's a bit rubbish. Let's go for another one. I think what I don't want to do is put too much tension, like on the bottom hole. I don't want to put too much tension on my bottom hole. I don't want to put too much tension on it because it might then pull it out of the top locator. I just want to stop it from moving every day I'm shuffling. I don't want it to shuffle. I want it to stay right where you are, kiddo. Right. Right, let's put it back in again. There's so much innuendo. Let's put it back in again. Oh, it's secure. It's not coming out anytime soon. Right, anyway. Bosh, bish, bash, bosh, bish, bash, bosh. Let's get that through there. Make sure that's through there. That's another thing again, just to check, as you're going through, check your wiring to make sure that you've not, like where you need to get your plugs out, make sure you've still got gaps and stuff. Like that would have been an easy mistake to make. That plug there, I brought it up through there, there's enough room, and if there's not enough room I could have moved it, but once you've screwed it back in again you realise, oh, I needed to do that. It's a bit late. What I can't show you on the video as well, because I can't be bothered to take it out and put it all back in again, this top slot here, behind there is the heater matrix, and it's that bit that causes you problems with the depth mount. So again, just check and make sure. If you do want to put it in, if you want to put a stereo in and use that top slot, or you want to put a double din in, it needs to be shallow, and you're probably looking at around 150mm. But again, I would definitely double check and make sure you get a shallow fit one, a shallow mount one before you try and fit it. Now, next thing is I'm going to have to be a bit awkward. I think not awkward. I'm only awkward. I'm not inconvenienced you. If you don't like it, you know, there's other videos out there, I'm sure. But while I am furkling around with this bit, because I think in here I've got some sockets that, what's that, 25, and what was this one? Yeah, it's a bit bigger than that, so I think that must be a 30. Must be, because that is a bit too small. I took them out of it yesterday. And it isn't ideal, but there we go. If you were to drop another screw, surely not. I'm definitely blaming the weather and the cold hands. Cold hands, I just want to touch you. Yeah. Well, I thought I'd doing YouTube videos for a long time, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should do it. But then there's loads of people making loads of content, and I'm sitting watching it, and a lot of it is just doing what I'm doing now. And I thought, you know what? I'm doing this job. I'm actually doing the car stereo. I'm fitting it. I don't claim to be a audio technica. I don't want to be an auto technician. But if I'm going to do it and talk crap along the way, why not? I talk crap most of the day anyway, in my proper job. Or which one of my proper jobs. And I've always been put off by, oh, you need to do like loads of editing and titles and all that shit. Well, maybe I will do later, or maybe I'll find some special friend who can do it for me. But and like with this car, I thought it's an ideal one. While I'm doing little bits and little projects stuff to it, I might as well just record stuff on the way. And if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, I've not really lost anything other than battery. Right, that's not gone in hard enough. It's not biting. I'm going to go a bit rogue. Again, what I'm not going to do is hunt in my garage for hours looking for the set of things that actually do the job properly. Why'd you do that when you could just butcher it or mess around with something else? If you get an Allen key type attachment here, there we go, that is a 4mm. It's definitely a thing to do. If you can't find the right Torx head, get an Allen key that's roughly the same size that gets it a bit tighter. Absolutely recommend that one. Ed China, eat your heart out. But it doesn't need to be massively tight in here. It needs to be tight enough to hold the stereo in place. And all I'm doing there with that Allen key is I'm getting a bit of an extra turn that I wasn't getting. That's now much more solid. In fact, if you can see it on the video, you really can't because you're far away, it's darker, I've got a stupid light on. That corner is wiggly, the rest of it's quite secure because that's the corner I haven't put a screw in yet. Oh, screw in. Anyway. Good news is, I've not got many screws left. So I'm hoping I've kind of done something a bit right. Who knows? Who knows? Oh. There we go. What's wrong with you? See? So it's cheap shit. Cheap tools. I say cheap tools. It's probably quite expensive for me. What is that one? Yeah, look at that. That is a quality Premier ratchet. Wouldn't have it any other way. In fact, this socket set, the two ratchets that came with it are dead. That was because in my youthful inexperience, I tried to use them as almost like every tool, rather than getting wrenches to break things. Like just if you've got a really seized in bolt, I'll be trying to use ratchets when you should use like a bit of leverage and a long bar. But no, I just use these, I just broke them. But the socket set is from Halfords, and it was given to me on my 21st birthday by Emma Roberts. If you're watching, well actually not, it wasn't Emma Roberts, it was Emma Roberts' nan and granddad, who were lovely, and they bought me a socket set for my 21st. So thanks to you both. I'm not sure if you're around anymore, but belated thanks. I said thanks at the time, so it's not belated thanks, is it? But it's still going though, still going. I'm more than double 21 now. And Emma is long into the distance with, I think I've got two little kids, two little boys. Not mine, I hasten to add. Right, there are no chances I'm going to see this because the battery just turned itself off. Right, I've got 2 more screws in here, plus the 2 that I was going to screw into the side there. So I've only got 2 screws left. Seems like it's a job well done. Again, top quality. No, please don't flood in your awards and nominations for the top quality install of the year, because I won't accept them. I'm too humble like that. Right, that can get out the rear. Should we do that now, or should we do that now? Let's do that now. I'm going to leave that. So those 2 screws are for putting the ashtray back in again. I didn't show you the screws coming out or where they came from. What I'm going to do next is just make sure all my wires are all right, make sure my stereo goes in before I put something else there. I've got a tray, like a big hole here where the ashtray goes in, cigar tray, so I may as well just check and make sure if I need to use the space underneath, I might as well do that. With this stereo, with it coming from the factory, it was actually, you just need to plug a couple of bits in to make sure you've got your lives in the right place, because some car manufacturers really mess things around when it comes to permanent lives and all that sort of stuff. You even got the option on this one, because it comes from the factory, it's designed, I think it's a 5x50. On the back here you've got outputs for all sorts of stuff, for a subwoofer, for RCAs, for amping speakers. There's the microphone one and a remote one as well on the back there, which is a good job I was looking at the back of this and talking to you, because I've just remembered I've got this to whack in. Now, oh, there's not a lot of room in there. Not a lot of room in there. So I've got to get the wire up. Again, I'm fairly confident that tidying the install up underneath the steering wheel and everywhere, oh, that's right, I just tickled my fingers. I'm fairly confident that getting the wiring out of the way is no problem. However, if I had have just fitted all of this stereo and not had this wire, that would have been well annoying. So I'm going to leave a little tiny bit of excess down there. That's going to go in. So, mic check. That goes in the mic hole, funnily enough. The aerial lead that we've converted, so that goes from the big long male protruding piece to the Jaguar aerial in there. And then on the back of that, so you can see, I don't know if the video picks this up or not, but on the back of there, we then plug in and they'll only go into one. That I do not like. This happened yesterday. Oh, there it is. So yesterday, they slide in and click, and yesterday it did not click, and I did not like that, because I don't want, for any of the leads, and I click again, I do not want any of the leads to come out once it's been fitted. So we got those in there. We've also got a huge amount of, and actually just poked it down there, that's helpful. So all of the excess cable is coming down and is nicely getting into where the ashtray goes, so you better tuck it behind there. And again, in the X-Type, you've got masses of sponge. And when I first drove it, it was so quiet and soft and smooth, this car. And it goes to show why now, because there's a great big load of sponge in it. Right, where did I put that? You need to get, and again, every manufacturer, has anyone guessed what manufacturer this unit is yet? Is anyone that geeky they can figure it out by the black bit? Or was I that oblivious that there's a bit of badging on the front? Anyway, there's some stereo keys there because I haven't already got enough of those. I've got a little slot here, so it's a security and theft device. That goes in, which allows you to slide the cage out. And again, using a cage, and again. I wonder how many times I've said and again and so in this video. But the cage slides out like this, which then fits into your single dinny what's-it. It should be a relatively tight fit. Just take your time with it, because if you bend it, it means it's more difficult to slide that unit in afterwards. And again, the perfectionists out there might have suggested that I did this before I put all the leads on, but nah, it worked, didn't it? I don't know yet, I've not unplugged it in. So you've then got these little metal tabs. You can push the metal tabs down, and believe it or not, they're really tiny. They're really small pieces of thin metal, but strength in numbers and all that jazzy. If you bend the little tabs down enough, you basically get to a point where the number of metal tabs that you start to bend hold. Look at me gritting my teeth. The metal holds itself in, like the chassis holds itself in there. I'm not convinced that's enough yet. There's not all that many actually. You're not really giving me many to play with. I'm a squire. So I'm going to get my magic tool out again. So right. I'm going to get the little flathead multi-tool out. That is a great tool, that. Again, I can't remember where I got it from. I think it was an Amazon purchase. So you just want to bend enough metal tabs around so that it doesn't want to slide out as you accelerate. Oh, we can leave it in behind. That end's not so bad. This end's a bit wibbly. Wibbly pig. But those are the kids. You know what I mean? Nick, what's his name? That's it there. This is. Am I still recording? God knows how long this video is going on for. Right. Please like and subscribe. More content coming soon. That's enough, I think. Just trying to go through and make sure I haven't forgotten anything. It looks like I have not. What I don't want to do is put it in and then realise I've forgotten something, like a sheath. No. Right, that's in. Anybody guess what stereo is yet? Why am I guessing? What was a guessing game? Oh, it's a guessing game. Secret, reveal later, unbox it. I didn't do an unboxing video, I don't really like them. I want to see it working. I don't want to see it unboxed. If I want to see it unboxed, just go on the telly and watch it. Right. It's an Alpine stereo. It's UTE, mate. It's a great UTE. It's a UTE 200 BT. I don't know why I'm still putting an Australian accent on, but it's a UTE 200 BT. So Bluetooth. It is just what they call a mech-less stereo. It is mech-less because basically it hasn't got the lasers in it that you might get and associate with a... Oh, that's underwhelming today. It's not got the lasers and stuff for a CD player in it, so it can be lighter. It's cheaper to manufacture because the idea is you just stream all your music through from your Bluetooth device, and there's a USB on the front. That was better, wasn't it? Right, so now get my finger in the hole and I should have a stereo on. Oh, that's flashing. That's nice, isn't it? I don't know what it's flashing area for. Oh, there we go. Now it says Alpine again. And it's making that lovely, look at that, it's quality. Oh man. Bass, 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 bass. Not really. If we... Ampersand, that mate. Ampersand. Go it the other way. Radio 2. Radio poo more like. So we just check that, take that out, and what should happen, if I've got my wirings correct, is we should have the stereo turning back on and giving me radio poo back.
Atlantic sessions featuring Karen Matheson and Cara Dillon. Karen...
Right, all the rest of that malarkey, I'll not even bother going through the features and the functionality of the Ute. But if anyone wants to know anything, what do I reckon of the UTE, what do I think to the Bluetooth functionality, what do I reckon to all that other stuff, I can make a video on it if you want, but right now I'm more bothered about making sure my car's put back together again and tidying my tools away. It's 9:30 now. Okay, so what you next need to do is click, click. If you heard that, that is now in. I've unsheathed my beast. I'm gonna continue some tidying. Oh, a tiny little piece of. Yeah. So see that little plastic piece goes back in there, like so, or not like so. Why are you being so awkward? There you go. That's back in again. Where's the tiny little bit of here? Where's my cloth gone as well? Oh, it's here. Make sure I get my finger in the hole, nice and deep in the hole. Make sure it's not touching the sides. Oh, actually, before I finish jizzing around, let's go for one of those again. And just check. I'm not checking for radio 2, I was just checking to see the aircon. Although to be fair, don't know why. The rear didn't come on until the rear didn't come on until the engine went on. But it's got an engine. Right. Yeah, before I started plugging putting all these bits back in, is making sure my plugs have gone back in there and I hadn't lost any functionality. I don't think that's the right way up. Let's go with that one. Right, that's back in. cigar tray in my jag. Why is it taking me that long to say that in this car? And some idiot off Top Gear that feels a bit like a Clio. If those have got a sticky Clio sensation going on, you'll know what I mean. The material just wears in a way that makes it all go sticky. But anyway, worry about that later. Oh, maybe I've got a sticky jag. Right. That goes in there, that goes over there, and around the corner. And I think and if anyone's excited then, oh Clio, what about a Clio? I did have a Clio. I've had 2 Renault Sport Clios over the years. The first one I crashed, and the second one I crashed. Neither of them major. The first one was an Inferno 182 with both packs on, both cut packs on. Great little car, and I was going to collect some rear suspension and put it into a bit of a bush tree hedge thing. Took it home and ended up buying a black gold front bumper and wing and a new headlight. After that, I traded it in that condition actually for a 225 Cup. Actually, it's a 225 R26. This is brilliant. Why not working? Ah, you see, YouTube when things go wrong. There we go. Why are you? That's not going all the way up. So I mean, like, when you start modifying and messing around with cars, you don't know what you're going to get. Yesterday that didn't do that. Today it is doing that. I just dropped another screw. Don't do this stuff at night. That's my other warning. It's a stupid idea. Do it at night means I don't know where them screws have gone. I'm going to have to get torches out and try and find them. I know it might be. Underneath here is the massive connector loom that can sit out of the way. It doesn't need to be that close to the ashtray. So if I move that back out of here, there's a little bit behind there. Maybe that's stopping the ashtray from going in properly and mounting properly. What's that? WhatsApp notification. Oh, brilliant. It's even worse than it was before. Right, you know what? I'm not sure I can be bothered to sit and diagnose this all and figure it all out on YouTube. I think I'll probably just call the video quits there. It's not going to be anything major. It's a couple of little screws to mess around with. It might be that once it's screwed back in again, I'm going to keep on bluffing it. It might even be that when the screws are back in properly and it's screwed back down properly, that it will open properly. I've still got them screws to find that I've dropped. I've got one that goes in there and one that goes up there. Just got to find them as well. Plus this most recent droppage. Oh, little crack. I've over tightened that. Oh, that comes out. Interesting. Very interesting. That. Very interesting, Lee. Thanks, mate. Oh, and another thing to tidy up. That is a tray that goes in there, which you can use for putting things in. And this is a surround that goes around the stereo. Just to tidy it up a little bit. So now, well then, right. does clip back in. I'm going to come back and do this after. I'm going to do it all again. Oh, come along, you clown. Right, there we go. So that's what it will look like when it's all finished and all done. That works all the way. That goes back in. That fits there. You've then got a stereo that kind of looks, I think that looks in keeping to how you might have modified a stereo in the day. It's a lot different, as you can tell, in there. But I've got full-on modern technology. The idea is the phone will even sit in there nicely. It was designed perfectly for my iPhone. I'm literally looking for my phone that I'm recording a video on. Anyway, the phone sits in there perfectly. There's another phone I've got here that sits in there. Look, it's a nice place to store your phone. A bit slippery, you might have to get one of them mats. But my intention is to get it in a cradle mount on a vent maybe. I don't want to modify the car in any way. Whether it will fit with the dash protruding like that with its nice little flat cap on the top there, I don't know. But I think that looks probably closest to what it might have done if you put a modified stereo in here in 2003 with all of the modern technology. Oh look, there's USB. So hopefully I've given you loads of information there about how to do a stereo fit into an X-Type, why you want to choose single DINs, double DINs. If not, and I've just entertained you briefly, I'm glad I did that as well. But for now, we'll call that one quits. Ta-ra!